The following is the Tony Lasano podcast, an Opie show on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. This is Free Kicks. Okay, I gotta say, my heart warmed when I received a text from you with a picture in the Jungle Room. You did it. You went to Graceland.
I finally was able to carve out some time to get there. It worked out. Originally, it was a 4-hour situation. I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I'm going to take this. It's going to take that long. I whizzed around there in a couple hours, but it was definitely very, very good. And glad I did it, especially now I'm motivated to watch the new Elvis movie, which is getting all the rage, right? So,
oh, it's a good one, too. I like that Elvis movie very much. I think it got nominated for Best Picture.
That's right. Exactly right.
Yes, all right. So, well, that's good. That's good. You've crossed it off your list now. You don't have to go back, but you've been in America now for 30 years, and you've been to the King's home.
Exactly. It's good.
I went to England. I went to Buckingham Palace. Now we're even. Right?
That's it. Exactly right. Perfect.
All right. Well, it's time for Free Kicks. Better do that.
And now, Free Kicks. Free Kicks with Illinois Youth Soccer Association's Director of Coaching, Adam Howarth, and Rick Kemper.
By the way, have you ever seen anything tackier in your entire life?
Oh, awful. I know. It was when you walk in there and the carpet, you're like, ooh, yuck. Yeah, and it's just one of those, and you expect it to be so much bigger, and it's obviously, it's not much bigger than most of our kitchens, Right. So, like you said, I'm glad I did it. It was funny. I spoke to another person who did the same thing, another coach. He said, I'm glad I did it because when he was at home, he said, I think there was more pictures of Elvis than my dad in my house. So he said it was one of those things where I had to go do it to make sure, because everybody asks, are you going to Memphis? Are you going to Graceland? Now I can say, been there, done it.
It's like a time capsule from the 70s. And Elvis already was tacky, so it was like the 70s as tacky as it could possibly get, all in one house. It's just that's why I love it. But anyway. All right, let's talk about football/soccer, and let's start with there was a cup handed out this past week, and we have a finally, thank God for the struggling and suffering fans of Manchester. Manchester United finally has won a trophy, so let's give it up for Manchester United.
My goodness, I'm so glad they won, because it's been a rough few years for them. My goodness, it's been tough for them. But, hey, they're back on it. To be fair, I'm probably more upset that Newcastle didn't win, because not only, we can talk about how the club is doing politically and all that other stuff, but from one side, looking at the fans, I can tell you this, and I actually got first-hand knowledge of this, Rick. Good friend of mine, you may know him, Gary, went over specifically for that game. Tried to get a ticket. Couldn't get it. He was telling me there was 100,000 Newcastle fans in and around London, Trafalgar Square, and floating around. And he went down there. Unbelievable atmosphere. There's 100,000 Newcastle people went down there, 100,000 Geordies. They only got 30,000 tickets allotted to them.
Right.
So think about 70,000 people just in the pubs, in the bars, in and around London. So he was amongst it. He absolutely loved it.
Well, I was rooting for Newcastle too. It's been a long time for them since they've won anything seriously, and they've got the excitement. The team is playing well this year. It just felt like everything was lining up for them to win that, and then of course the giant monster returns and stomps them. And Manchester United totally outplayed them. Totally deserved to win.
No question. I mean, I think you saw it. You see this with a lot of teams right now, my team included. They look very good up to the last quarter of the field, or should I say the last third of the field. But they just seem to struggle to score goals. Newcastle had a good amount of possession. They look good with the ball, but they just don't have that killer instinct. Manchester United has that killer instinct. Manchester City has that killer instinct. Arsenal, and that's why those are the top three in the league right now.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's talk about the Champions League, because since we last spoke, there have been several Champions League games. Mm-hmm. And the first leg is now done, and I'm looking at the results here. Let's just say that the Premier League has done better in the past. They're not doing so well. What the heck?
Yeah, not a great showing. I mean, they're all in it. These are all two-legged games. So they're all close. I think, obviously, the only team that's probably got the biggest uphill battle is your team, Liverpool.
Yeah.
After going down 5-2 at home to an absolutely amazing Real Madrid performance.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider Liverpool was up 2-0.
I know.
But yeah, I think Man City was away. They got a draw. Chelsea was away, lost 1-0. Tottenham was away, lost 1-0. So I think they're all there. We'll see what happens after the two legs.
Yeah.
But yeah, you would expect them to at least get maybe a win or two, as good as these teams are.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're right. They're still in it. But I can't remember another time when they've all been in this, been down after the first leg. And it's no big deal for Liverpool to go down to Real Madrid and win 3-0.
No, I think it's an easy. I mean, if you're going to pick a place to go and win, that would be it. Absolutely,
that's it.
Go to the Bernabeu, 3-0 victory, no problem.
So like Tottenham lost 1-0 to Milan, Chelsea lost 1-0 to Dortmund, and Man City had a draw against Leipzig 1-1. So as you mentioned, they're all still in it. But a rough start. And
definitely.
Before we go any further, we do need to do this.
Premier League football. What's happening on the pitch?
Because the league is still going on too. All right, we've got the Carabao Cup, we've got the Champions League, but it all boils down to the Premier League. That's where it all happens. We talked about Newcastle in the Carabao Cup. Now they're starting to struggle a little bit in the Premier League too.
Yeah, it's been an up and down road for them. When you look at their last 5 games, only 1 win. So a little bit of a struggle for them. And so, in fact, they've dropped out of the top 4, Tottenham jumping ahead of them. And then you've got some other teams kind of sneaking in. But when you look at the big picture in terms of the top half of the table, really, it's who's going to finish 4th. I think that's really the biggest question. I think Arsenal, Man City, and Man United are locks for the top 3.
Yeah,
in whichever order that could turn out to be. And then it's everybody else fighting for that 4th spot.
Yeah, but there are some, like Newcastle still has a shot at it.
Oh, yeah.
There are teams that have legit. I mean, there's still plenty of time left in the season.
Exactly. And they've got a couple of games in hand. They play 23 just because of their cup exploits. They've been able to make a little bit of run. So they've got a cup. They're 4 points behind Tottenham, but if they win their couple of games, they'll be right back in 4th spot. So they got to get back on the track. And again, as we talked about before, their biggest issue is the scoring goals. They're doing a pretty good job defensively. It's Callum Wilson, who has always been a pretty phenomenal striker for them, hasn't been scoring many goals. So they've got to find a way to put the ball in the back of the net.
So taking a look at the table now, who do you think we should be keeping an eye on? Who of those teams that, 4, 5, 6, 7, any of those teams do you think could make a run to get up there?
I think right now Tottenham's in the best spot. I mean, they're playing fairly well. Nobody really jumping ahead. I mean, if Liverpool can pull their act together, they're right there. They're not that far away. I mean, they've got a couple of games in hand as well. They could be in and around 4th spot as well, but they've got to start winning. So depending on how things transform for the Liverpool side, that could be a team that I would watch. But nobody really, when I look at the group, I'm thinking, that's a team that's going to finish 4th place.
Right.
So I'm just, you got Brentford, you got Brighton and Fulham and Newcastle. Nobody is there has been consistently in that group other than Liverpool. So that's why I'll probably put my safe bet on Liverpool to maybe make a bit of a run to see if they can sneak into 4th spot.
And there's also the Europa League. right? So you have a fifth and a sixth team go to that league.
Yeah, that's right. So the fifth and the sixth go into the Europa League, yes, and then the seventh team actually they will be in there, but they have a playoff to be able to potentially get in as well. So they have to do the qualifying rounds. But yeah, so there's the next three spots. There's European football opportunities, and that's ultimately what all the teams want to do. When you go further down, it might be a little bit more difficult for some of those other teams.
And a lot of those teams that we just talked about, like Brentford and Brighton, and these are and Fulham. These are teams that have really not played European football in years, or if ever.
Exactly.
Right?
I mean, I don't know. We'd have to go back to the predictions, but I wouldn't have been surprised if we had those three teams in our bottom half of the table rather than the top half. And if anything, those are the teams that we would probably predict to go down rather than get into Europe.
Yeah.
So this is uncharted territory, and I think that's why it's so difficult to predict. And that's why we watch the Premier League. That's why we do the show, Rick.
It's true. One team you haven't mentioned is a team that's in 10th place right now, and it's a team that I believe you've followed since you were a wee lad.
I'm trying to be conscious of not mentioning them anymore. I think actually, because it's funny. When we was on our trip to Memphis, a couple of the coaches who were driving down. Hey, I listened to your podcast. I said, "Oh, great! Keep boosting the listeners. That's great." And he said, "Man, you was only 2 minutes in, and you was talking about Chelsea." I said, "I know."
Hey,
we are who we are. Of that. I know. But it's a story. They are a story. Even if I wasn't a Chelsea fan, we would be talking about them. But yeah, it's just, oh my goodness, it's a bit of a mess, to be honest.
In
terms
lost
of results.
Again. If you weren't paying attention, they lost again this past weekend. And if you look at their last 5 games, there are no little green check marks.
That's right. And it's a struggle.
And Graham Potter, who their coach, I saw their manager. I saw him interviewed after the game. Yeah, and it's starting. I can start to see the pressure in his eyes a little bit. I haven't seen it the last few times. It's starting. He's like getting a little freaked out about it because he's got all this talent and he just can't win.
Right. Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. I was a bit puzzled with the Tottenham result because we never lose to Tottenham. No offense to Tottenham fans, but Chelsea have always beaten Tottenham consistently. I think this was their first victory since 2018, so it's been quite a while. And so I was hoping this might break the chain a bit. But and again, for 20 minutes they looked fine. They were passing and moving. But again, it goes back to the Newcastle issues. It goes to the Chelsea. They don't have somebody who you can rely on that looks like they're going to score goals. That's the biggest concern. And so,
how is that possible with all those guys?
I know. When you think of all the money they spent, they need a Harry Kane. They need a striker like that, a fox in the box. They need somebody who can put the ball in the back of the net when you absolutely need it. It doesn't matter how it is. It could be off his knee, off his chest. Who cares? You just need somebody who can put it in the net. So
you mean like a Lukaku save? Or
maybe a Lukaku. He might have been handy. Yeah, somebody who can just be in the right place at the right time. Find a number 9. Let's do that. Once they get that, everything else will start moving. You know, they just got to put away their chances. Hopefully they can do that. But I'm still keeping faith. I'm a very positive person. So hopefully it looks like the owners are still staying with Graham Potter, at least for now. It's going to be at some point where they're going to have to make a decision, I think. But I think let's see how the rest of the season goes. And people are talking, well, maybe they just write this season off, give them the start of the next season to implement what they're trying to do, and hopefully get on to a good start for 2023. But
well, they've already written the season off. I got news for you. It's over.
Well, we still got the Champions League. That's the thing.
That's true.
They still have a chance. I mean, so if they lose this Champions League, then it's definitely a written off season. But they've got that Champions League that they're motivated to hopefully go on, and who knows? This could be the start of something there.
Yeah, could be. Would you be willing to put some money on that?
No, definitely not.
Okay. Now, Free Kicks is brought to you by the Illinois Youth Soccer Association.
Illinois Youth Soccer is proudly serving the Illinois soccer community since 1975 and has a strong history of credibility. Illinois Youth Soccer is a non-profit corporation, official state association and charter member of the U.S. Soccer Federation, official state association and charter member of U.S. Youth Soccer, and administers U.S. Soccer Federation coaching programs, the Olympic Development Program, and U.S. Soccer Federation referee programs. For more information, go to illinoisyouthsoccer.org.
And I'll be over there today at the headquarters.
Yes.
For a special meeting. That's a top secret. Can't talk about it, but I'll be there later on today. But right now, it's time for your favorite part of the show.
Time now to guess the Premier League star.
Okay, I think this one's going to be pretty tough. I'm just warning you now. But remember, listeners, if you're at home or you're on the road and you're listening to Free Kicks with Adam and Rick, and we get to the Guess the Premier League Star, and you know you're going up against the director of coaching for the entire state of Illinois, and you guess it before he does, just consider what a great soccer expert you are. You should be able to pat yourself on the back because it means that you are a superstar. So that's something to keep in mind as we carry on here. All right. This week's Premier League star is 25 years old.
Okay.
And has played professionally now in 3 countries: Belgium, Germany, and now England.
Okay.
He is not from any of those countries.
Interesting.
Okay. In fact, he's not even from Europe. In fact, he's not from South America either.
Okay.
And he's also not from Africa.
Jeez.
Yeah. He was born on an island.
Okay.
In the Caribbean.
And
he plays on that country's national team. All right, 25 years old. He's a winger.
Okay.
He wears number 31.
Wow, 31.
Yeah.
Not too many players with that number.
No, that's true. Should make it easy.
Yeah, of course. Because, when I'm watching games, I'm always watching the numbers. I haven't seen that number, 31 before.
There he is, 31.
Yeah,
that must be that guy from the Caribbean island.
Yes, exactly.
At best, his team is a mid-table team.
Okay.
All right. So it's not one of the elite teams in the Premier League.
Okay. All right.
Pretty sure he's a starter, though.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go with a clue. Does he play when you said mid-table? That kind of figured, because obviously our good friend is used to hanging around in the mid-table, and that would be Aston Villa, our favorite Aston Villa team.
It could be.
So I think that might be it. And he's actually doing okay this year. Having a decent season. I'm going to go with Leon Bailey.
Very good. Your last 2 clues were he has the same last name as the lead character in It's a Wonderful Life. And his first name is the same as a boxer who once shocked the world by knocking out Muhammad Ali. So there you go. Leon Bailey. Yeah. All right. So, that was a tough one, wasn't it?
That was very difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, probably not too many people have seen much of him,
right?
Because he recently signed with them a couple of years ago. So I think he was he with Bayer Leverkusen, I think, before.
Yes, he was.
So he was playing with them in the German Bundesliga. And, doing all right. So he's off to a decent season.
Yeah, actually, I like him. I like watching him. All right, it's time for this.
Now time for Adam's Weekend Soccer TV Tip.
By the way, while I was doing the research on Bailey, I found out that he was adopted when he was 13 years old, along with like 22 other kids from Jamaica. And this guy from Jamaica brought them all to Europe to try to get them into various different clubs and stuff. And that's how he broke into soccer. He had like a big benefactor. All right, so Adam's cool. TV tip. What's going on this weekend? I haven't had a chance to scout out the TV landscape.
Well, we've got lots of games. So interesting. So this is the week we're recording this on the Tuesday. During the week, there's FA Cup games.
Right.
So we've got a whole bunch of FA Cup matches that are taking place on today, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So we've got all of those games. So, but then we move into the league matches, which I think are going to be really, really good this weekend. We've got some really good ones. You got some top of the table clashes. I guess you could say mid-table clashes when you think about them now. But, it starts with Man City Newcastle on Saturday morning. I know you'll be up for the 6:30 game. That's going to be a good one. Right. Cross that one off. Yeah. I'll watch the highlights. But the big ones, historically, again, I always say Chelsea Leeds is always a big game because of the history that those two teams, their fans really do not like each other very much. There's that history of the teams going against each other. But this is probably, arguably, in years past, this was the biggest game and still is one of the most popular games. Sunday, March 5th, Liverpool at Anfield against Manchester United. It's going to be a great game. 10:30 kickoff on USA. Definitely watch that one. The fans will be in full voice. You Never Walk Alone will be as loud as can be for that one against Manchester United, who obviously recent cup champions. Yeah. Liverpool trying to get back on top of things. So I'm predicting the Liverpool win there. I'm going to go with a nice 2-1 victory for Liverpool. Get back on track.
Well, Liverpool has done well against Manchester United the last, 5 years or so. So let's hope it. It's red on red. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a good one. I'll definitely watch that one Sunday.
Okay, and so next week we can talk about the FA Cup a little bit more next week because that's going to be fun to follow. And Free Kicks has been brought to you by Green White Soccer Club. 67 years of soccer excellence. Green White provides a great travel soccer program for kids of all ages. 67 years ago, Adam, Dwight D. Eisenhower was president. That's how long ago that was. Led by former World Cup player and coach Mustafa Edders, who wasn't even born yet. That's how long.
Wow.
That's how long Green White has been around. Go to greenwhitesoccer.org for more information. All right, so that's it for this week's show. But luckily, there's always soccer going on, and we're going to be back again next week with a brand new episode of Free Kicks. I usually have Dave end the show on the other podcast.
So that's why, okay. I thought there was a pause. I was like, am I going to do this? We didn't rehearse that, Rick. That's fine. It's all good.
I'm sorry. We'll be back next week with another episode of Free Kicks. The preceding was a presentation of Opie Productions. Find our other great shows wherever you find podcasts, including opishows.com. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?